I think we're going. No countdown, just straight into it, I think.
Straight into it.
All right. G'day, guys. Travis here from Fitness Education Online. And on the other side there, I've got Dr. Cam McDonald, who's one of the big wigs in Australia with PH360, which is an awesome program that I've done recently and am still going through a current coaching series with. So first things first, Cam, do you want to give everyone a bit of a 101 of your own personal background? What is it that you do?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, we'll start with the end now. All I do right now is teach health professionals and make sure that they feel like they're part of a really powerful health professional community that's making good change in the world. So that's sort of the end stage. But when I started out, I was just a little country boy from Gundagai in New South Wales, which is a very small town, and got shipped off to school in Sydney and ended up doing my first university degree, exercise physiology, at UNSW there. Came out as an accredited ex-phys and came out with the idea that I wanted to fix diabetes. I got this great lecture in my second last semester. It's easier to fix diabetes. You just got to get people moving and you pretty much fix it. So I said, well, let's go and fix this thing then. And I said, well, if I'm going to do this, I think I need to know a bit more about nutrition. So I went and did my Masters of Dietetics at Griffith University on the Gold Coast. Didn't really know what dietetics was or what they did, but I knew that I needed to know about food. And that seemed like the logical progression. So the people who allowed me into that course said, look, we're going to let you in, but you should really go and find out what a dietitian does before you do it. So over the next couple of years, I found out what a dietitian does, and then I stepped into a role in at the Wesley Hospital, looking after some of the cardiac rehabilitation.
Okay.
And also both the physical, the exercise side and the nutritional side, and then did some work with lung disease and lots of inflammatory diseases. And I got in my head that omega-3s were going to fix the world, particularly after spending plenty of time in the heart disease. And there was some good research coming out about omega-3 at that time. And exercise was really important. HIIT training was really making some moves then. So I figured if I combine these two things of HIIT training and omega-3, I'm going to fix everything. And so I wanted to do that in a couple of different populations. Ended up doing it in breast cancer. After treatment, we didn't look at HIIT specifically. We looked at omega-3 and lifestyle change versus omega-3 alone or lifestyle change alone. Okay. And that's why I did my PhD at the University of Queensland. And we were watching body composition change over time after treatment, because chemo really knocks their body around, or even any treatment just seems to knock their body around significantly. So we were looking at reducing their chronic disease risk. And then throughout the PhD, you normally get a bit of time to, do your own stuff. And so I was doing some private practice at that time as well. And then also getting really interested in brain health, because I realized that no one really cares about heart disease or diabetes in 30 years. They care about how good they feel today and right now. Yeah. And so I started looking into brain health and how you can have a nap for 30 minutes and fix yourself for the whole afternoon rather than wait 30 years for no heart disease. I was looking at how different nutrients and how you can refuel your brain. Everything was about the now, and I started seeing that different people were responding differently, and started looking down the genetics pathway, and then ran into the co-founder and the CEO of PH360. And he started.
Was that Matt Reinman? Is that right?
Matt Riemann, that's right.
Yep.
And he started talking through how epigenetics is really where it's at, which is what your genes are expressing right now, not what they're going to express in 30 years. It's about what can you do for your body right now, and what are the inputs into that. What's going on with your heart rate and your heart rate variability, what's going on with your food and your social interactions and your mental health and your physical exercise and all of these things. I was blown away, because it was effectively all of the stuff that I'd been reading about, trying to navigate what was going to help the people I was working with. And in this platform and in the collection of sciences they use in PH360, it effectively accounts for everything. And it's all about what's happening for the person right now in this moment in time. So over the last 4 years, I've seen about 500 clients using PH360 now. And the results that I see from before and now after, it's chalk and cheese. Like, it's completely changed all my relationships. It's completely changed my business. So much so now I've retired from clinic, and I'm just looking after health professionals to make sure that they can do what I did, because it's actually not that complicated at all.
Yeah.
And so, exactly. So here we are. We are talking about personalized health, and this is PH360 as far as that's concerned is leading the way as far as you've got genes, yes, but what are they actually saying, and what do they actually need right now? Because, you know, a 1-year-old needs something very different to a 30-year-old, and so forth for a 70-year-old. So this is what this does.
All right. Now, I want to go back on a couple of things back and forth here and there. Now, I watched a TED Talk a little while ago with Matt Riemann.
Riemann. Yeah.
Riemann. So he was actually, he's the sort of creator, yeah? He's one of the founders. Yep. He was diagnosed with some kind of terminal or some kind of disease, correct?
Yeah, it was a terminal, it was a 10-year life sentence. It was an autoimmune condition, and it's to do with a variant in a particular gene called the TTR gene. And he, when that gene's turned on, you start getting sort of heart attack-like symptoms. That's the onset of pain. He woke up, was very healthy before that, he perceived. And then over the next sort of 5 to 10 years, effectively started searching the world, or not 5 to 10 years, the next year started searching the world for someone who could help him. And
awesome. So I think the TED Talk I saw would have been a couple of years ago, and he was like 7 or 8 years post sort of diagnosis.
Yeah.
Everything, this is something I wanted to ask, and I was like, oh, I wonder what the.
Yeah. So he was meant to be in a wheelchair after 5 years, and then progressively get worse for the next 5 after that. So he, I was playing soccer with him 2 weeks ago, he's not from a he's doing really well to be out of bed. He's actually the most powerfully energized guy I've ever met. Sometimes we do sort of headquarter work where we're on international time zones, where we're working through the night, and I've never seen a guy with more energy and more focus. So that disease was treated effectively back in year 1. And then he's been managing that, effectively not allowing that gene to turn back on since. So it's all about changing your environment, and you can change what your genes are doing.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. As I said, I was watching it, and I was like, oh, I want to ask this question because I'm sure I probably could have, Googled it and researched it, sort of thing. But I figured it'd be more fun to ask the question.
That's cool. Yeah.
Mad at me, probably.
He's got some good stuff.
All right. Now let's have a look. Let's go back into the program PH360. I got introduced to the idea of it at Philex a couple of years ago, and have since seen you guys at FitX, and then I've gone on to do the course myself. And like I said, I'm now a part of like a series where it's like an ongoing thing weekly, and I'm working through that, which is really cool and awesome. But like most people you probably come in contact to, most people probably haven't heard of it, right?
Yeah.
So you've gone in and explained now that it's about your genes and turning genes on and off.
Yep.
What is it? So explain it for the people who you've explained it probably a lot more to people who've never heard of it than I have. So
sure.
you'd be doing a better job than me.
So the number one thing about this is, like, we'll talk about this thing called PH360, which is a technology, or at least that's how it looks, but it's actually a philosophy of the idea that every single person is unique, and every single person needs something different in order to be in their best health. So if we're working from that premise, the Ultimate Human Foundation is a not-for-profit that effectively the PH360 is part of, and their mission is to end chronic disease and pain by the year 2050. And so in order to do that, we need to put people into their best health. We need to not only know what to do, we need to know what to do that is specific to this individual, because headaches for one person will be actually a different reason for another person. Heart disease for one person will be a different reason for another person that actually has a different disease process. So when we're looking at PH360, the platform itself, what it does in about 30 minutes, using a specific set of measures and also a questionnaire, it's able to quantify very specifically your phenotype. And your phenotype is your body shape, your morphology It's also things like how high your blood pressure is. It's also to do with how many nutrients you got running around your body. It's got all of your disease and health processes, and also the look and feel and shape of your body is all considered your phenotype. And what it uses, once we understand the phenotype, it actually tells us exactly what's going on inside the body. For example, if I've got a really massive forearm, it means that I've put a lot of strength work into my forearm. And so my forearm, the shape of my forearm actually tells me the story of what's been going on. Same with a big chest, same with a small chest, same with big legs, etc. So we use that phenotype to not only determine what state the body is in right now, but also when we have a look at hair color, eye color, skin tone, we can actually start picking up a significant amount of genetic information as well. So in essence, we get to judge a book by its cover. By looking at the book, we can actually determine what's going on inside it. And there's been effectively a 17-year effort, and there's over 10,000 different relationships that are collated in about that 30 minutes to calculate not only, I guess, a lot of the genetic underpinnings of your body, but also how that is now expressed. You might have exactly the same genes when you're 10, or actually a better example, when you're sitting on the couch for 6 months, you've got exactly the same genes as when you then go and exercise perfectly for the next 6 months, but your body is very, very different. And I know that the workout you're going to have when you first get off the couch is very different to the workout you're going to have when you are 6 months into your training. And that's got to do with the combination of the genetics of what your body does when it's very lazy. Some people gain a lot of weight. Some people just don't change at all. They just get weaker. And we also talk about what happens with that change over time within you too. So this, in very simple terms, PH360 measures all of that information and then says, right, we know exactly what foods you need to eat, exactly what kind of exercise is going to be best for your physiology, what time you should be doing both of those things. We also understand, based on the hormonal profile that we get out of this phenotype model, we understand how your brain's going to tick to a very scarily specific way, and it just really gets into the way your brain's going to interact with information, interact with people. And with all of that information, we can then say, as a health professional, we can say, all right, so I know that these things are going to be best for you, these types of foods, this timing of food, this type of exercise, this timing of exercise, this type of brain stimulation, this type of motivation. But right now you're getting the opposite of these. And this is why your body's not feeling so great right now. And this app, in a very user-friendly way, it just online and also on your phone just says, these are the foods you've got to have, this is the exercise you've got to do, this is the time you've got to do it. And so for a health professional, it's just incredibly assistive. And the Mastery Series, which you've gone through, is just a very thorough education and introduction into the principles behind that so that you can confidently practice it with clients.
Awesome. I think the one thing that when I was there, it hadn't clicked with me earlier, but when I was there and I went, and we got the mind profile and I read it, I was like, yeah, that sounds a lot like me. And there was a guy next to me and I went, do you want to swap it? I want to read yours. I just want to, he was a fitness guy as well, personal trainer. I'm like, can I just read yours? I just want to see, I'm always on the skeptic side of things, right? I read his and I was like, it doesn't sound like me at all. And then he read mine. He goes, yeah, that's not me. And there's another trainer on the other side. She was a female. So I was like, well, I'm sure they'll be different anyway. But anyway, read hers. I went, yeah, that's not me. And so we all swapped profiles and we all read each other's profiles and we all went, nah, you know what? That doesn't, yours doesn't gel. None of it. Not a single, not even 1 point. And that's what I found so bizarre. And the bizarre thing was then it clicked in my head that there's not a single personal question.
That's right.
It's not like a personality test where it's like, what is, with these 3 words, what best describes you? There's not a single personality-based question. And that's what blew my mind out massively when I was there. I found that incredible.
Mm.
Now,
it's absolutely. It keeps stunning me every single time I read more profiles, that's for sure.
Yeah, so now, if we try and take this into a training realm, you've got an exercise physiology realm, so I suppose you've sort of more been in that rehab side of things. But if we're trying to take this into trainers, what sort of benefits can we see, or what would be some benefits as a trainer for using this sort of program?
So the major issues for most health professionals, but specifically within the fitness industry, is one, getting results. Two is maintaining your clients effectively. So if we just look at those two, results and retention, that would probably be the best way to start. What we find, it's like saying, actually, it's better to say, if you're training a particular type of individual in the morning and you're giving them HIIT training in the morning or low rest, high intensity weight training, you could be making them gain weight if it's the wrong type of training for their body. And so the same thing goes is if you're recommending, and whether you're qualified to do it, if you're recommending 5 meals, 6 meals a day for an individual and their body is designed for 2, it's going to be actually creating more chance of them having health issues going forward as well. So the point that I'll make here is that just by understanding the timing and also the type of training and also the timing and the type of food, which is genetically built into a body, if you don't have to guess, you don't have to trial, you can just say, I know that the advice that we can, like this platform can provide you and that I'll be able to assist you with is going to be the thing that allows you to get results, then that takes a huge weight off the mind of a trainer. Because one of the biggest things is going, I think this person is going to respond to this. I think. And this is exactly what I did in practice as well, even with XPhys and dietetics. I'd do my assessment and go, okay, I'm going to try this weight loss protocol then on this person because they're looking to lose weight. But I would still be guessing because until we had 4 or 5 weeks of trial, we wouldn't know whether it's really working. And then even beyond that, is it going to be sustainable as well? So this effectively cuts through all of the guesswork when it comes to what you're going to prescribe. We give a lot of detail around the best exercises, the best type, even rep ranges, timing of reps, all relating to the muscle physiology. We give a lot of information around what types of it, like the specific type of vegetables. Like you don't have to come up with any of this yourself. And even as a dietitian, it's well beyond my knowledge base to be able to understand what a particular person with particular genes is going to need at this particular time, at this particular season, at this particular climate. Like there's too many data points for me to calculate. And so effectively from a result point of view, it takes out the guesswork. And, even now we're training up some trainers down in Victoria at the moment. We're going through a trial with a few of the gyms because we've got a product that's specifically related to gyms as well. And they're going through a trial of this right now. And we've got 3 types of bodies in this trial. And one of them has not been getting results the last 4 years. A trainer hasn't been getting a result with themselves the last 3 or 4 yees. Or at least a significant result they would really consider for the effort I'm putting in is what I'm getting back.
So can I just interrupt your thought? Is with the work you're doing with the gyms, is this with the trainers in the gyms themselves, or is this with the clients?
The trainers, we're running a trial with the trainers first.
Okay.
And so she has gone from HIIT training in the morning and a high protein diet to slow strength training in the afternoon and a more vegetarian intake because that's better for her body. And in the last week has dropped 2 kilos, has dropped 3 centimeters off her waist, has dropped 4 centimeters off her ribs. And these are all the sites that we would expect for a body like hers to respond if she was doing the right thing. So in 1 week, she's been able to effectively, over the last 5 months, she's lost 6 kilos. And in 1 week, she's dropped 2, just changing the timing and type of her food and the timing and type of her exercise. And it wasn't through me having to navigate and really investigate. I actually have not seen this person in the flesh. Yeah. I just know what her health type is, and I know the recommendations for that health type and specifically for her. And so we put that into play and she got a result. So it just takes the guesswork out, and I don't need to be a rocket surgeon to make that thing work. I just need to be able to measure up. And in fact, you can, if you're an online coach, you can actually get people to measure themselves up at home and in that way still work with their data. And this is where the retention side comes in. And that is if different brains need different things. Like one brain, for example, in Trav, you're a perfect example. You needed data and you needed to be skeptical and you need time to think about things before you commit. Like that's how your brain works. And so if you go into a sale, with somebody and you're looking to, engage someone in your services, and and you can actually start checking this stuff out by the shape of their body, which is really exciting. If you know that they're a bit of a ruminator and they're going to need to think about it, then you're not going to try and do the hard push on them, because you'll actually, push them away.
Yeah.
Whereas another person is going to be super keen to start straight away, and they're actually bored by all the preamble. They just want to buy something and start straight away. And if you don't know those two differences, you might lose the sale straight away.
Yeah.
Second thing then comes down to, how do you keep hold of that client? And that client that I mentioned before, we call her health type the guardian. And the guardians are very nurturing type people, and their currency is actually your relationship with them. They don't care about your nerdy science. They don't care about the degrees of functional movement. They don't care about grams of protein. They care about what is your relationship to them, and is it solid, and is it full of trust? And if it is, then they're going to be really stimulated by that, and they will stick with you for 5 years, even not getting results, but they feel like your family. So you need to be in touch with that person every week, and maybe a couple of times every week. And that to them, because their hormonal dominance is very much of a nurturing profile, and so that's what they value, and that's what actually makes them keep turning up, so that you don't have to keep going finding clients. Whereas if you were to come and check out and consult to me, I've got the opposite type of brain to that. I am all data, and I'm all skepticism, and I'm all value. So if you don't put absolutely everything into the program and allow me just to run it by myself, it's sort of like, here's all the information. I'll see you in 2 months, and we'll track your data, and we'll come back and interpret your data so you can get better percentage increases. That to me is going to be amazing. You to say, I need to catch up with you every week for the next, and make sure you're feeling okay. And my brain's just going to say, well, I don't want that at all. Like, can we reduce the price and me have less service, please? Like, that's how my brain's going to work.
Yeah.
So understanding those two differences straight off the bat will mean the difference between keeping someone motivated, keeping someone engaged with your services, and doing it in a way where you're actually speaking to their inside parts. Like, you're speaking to the core essence of them when you understand how they're driven and how they're motivated. And all of this comes from their epigenetic expression, and can be determined very quickly doing tests. And when you get really good at it, you can even get a rough category by eye as well.
Wow. Okay. So in regards to one-on-one stuff, it's very obviously it's going to be much easier to try and cater for some of those situations with one-on-one. You gave a good example with online stuff. So if a trainer is providing like an online program, maybe for a certain client, it's maybe they're only going to touch base once every 2 weeks with a face-to-face thing potentially, and everything's going to be back-ended with online. Or you've got other clients which might benefit from 2 sessions a week based on their profile. Now, in your experience, what have you come across with trainers who are doing groups and stuff like that? What have you seen people trying to do with that, or what have you found? Because that's obviously going to be a bit different, because, where everyone's working, different hours, obviously, I've got to be at work at 7 o'clock, regardless of whatever my time profile says, or whatever the case may be. What have you found with people running groups?
Okay, cool. So if they're doing, you mean group exercise or just cool.
Any type of group exercise.
Okay, sweet. So what we find with people who are doing group exercise is what we've found with our trainers who have done that, and then also become a sort of a health coach doing the PH360 stuff, is they will strongly recommend the right client to do the right type of group at the right time. And so now we have probably, it's really pioneering a lot of this stuff, a gym up in Brisbane, who actually have specific health type training programs at specific times of day that are best for them. Yeah, wow. So the first thing that you can do is the most extreme thing you can do is actually split your program and recommend that people fall into the category that they should fall into. That's the most extreme one. Not everyone's game to do that, though. They are fearful that they might lose clients if you're trying to push people into another class. So what we do then, and this is something we're working on with some leaders in the fitness group X industry right now, is designing routines that are suitable for different body types, so that you can have the same group running and have a variant of the exercise for those different people. For example, If you've got an activator health type, which is normally a smaller, very agile, very active, explosive type physiology, really good at sprints and sort of HIIT training, they will be, let's say that we're putting them into a squat on a boot camp type thing.
Yep.
Theirs would be squat jumps. So they'd be doing squat jumps. Whereas the diplomat, who is, they have a requirement for more isometric-like activity, they would come up to the same card. But for them, the diplomat name would be a squat hold. And so the activator would be doing the squat jumps next to them, and they would be doing the same movement, but at the pace that's right for them. So just small little variations like that can actually completely transform the experience for an individual. And then what other people have done as well, they're running group exercise, and then they'll engage their group to actually do their PH360 profile, and then they'll have maybe a nighttime session over dinner where they get to socialize and be community, but they also talk through their profiles as well and talk through how they might be able to integrate that into their life as well. So it becomes effectively another revenue stream for Group X, because the best thing about Group X is that they are so full of energy and can bring people together. Like, they are community builders, and that's what their currency is creating a vibe, creating a culture. And so we see those people apply their skills to a dinner where they're holding court, talking to people about their different requirements, and also helping people, facilitating a conversation where people talk about themselves. And just like you had with your trainers, saying, well, this is me and I'm super different to you. So next time I'm annoying you, you'll understand that it's actually just me. You know, it's not a good thing or a bad thing, just the way I am. And so that group dynamic actually creates an incredible community and acceptance of people being different and needing different things. So there's any number of options that we can talk about, but it's very, very applicable to Group X.
Awesome. So if people want to start looking into this, getting involved in this, we'll put all the details below and all that sort of stuff. But you guys are running courses. What are the sort of courses that are going on that you guys are doing?
Yeah, cool. So the ones that we're running, we've got another 10 locked in for this year so far around the country. We've got we're about to go to Perth this weekend, so that's coming up the 16th to 18th of March for those people who are listening to the recording. And then we have every capital city bar Canberra and Darwin at least once more for the year. We've done Brisbane and Sydney this year. We'll come back to Brisbane and Sydney again. We'll do the Gold Coast as well. We're doing Melbourne a couple of times. We're getting back over to Perth later in the year. We're doing Wellington, Christchurch and Auckland as well. So there's heaps of opportunities, and that effectively is a 6-week course with a 3-day face-to-face. So the 3-day face-to-face is super intense, super hardcore, but amazing. You get a really great experience of what it is for each of these health types. The principles of coaching really start there as well, and then how you can connect with more clients with the platform as well, and create some really great revenue for yourself as well. Then we have a 6-week online component as well, which is run by an accredited mental health social worker with 30 years of experience counseling clients, who runs a practice only in the principles of neurotypes and phenotype-based brain stuff. So she's a specialist at PH360 and applying it from a coaching point of view. So it allows you to become an excellent motivator. And if you're not up with this already, understanding that your knowledge in your head is going to be sort of overrun by how quickly computers can think and how many factors computers can take into account when it comes to individualized health. So comparing or combining technology with coaching and your clinical experience, practical experience, is going to be where the money is made over the next 10 to 20 years. So I would highly recommend it. So that's why we've had such a strong coaching component to it, because understanding how to deliver information is more important sometimes than the information itself. So that's what we have running, that 6-week course. And we're also working on, this is a bit of sneaky stuff because you asked about group exercise. We're actually going to be creating a group exercise specific course as well. Wow. So for Group X trainers, it's actually got its foundations is less so in the coaching and a much more in the practical application of group exercise for different health types. Awesome. But every Group X it will be very, very beneficial, and probably it's going to be highly recommended that they also come along to the 6-week course as well, so they can really understand what's going on for their clients. But all of that's in the works. And then we have some medical series for higher level medical professionals as well, both online and in person, for some of our top docs to come out and talk about it all too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's insane, the depth and the knowledge. And when I was at the 3-day thing, just this amount of like knowledge that's out there and thrown to you. It's like, how is this even, how do we understand all this? And I think the creation of the app and everything that makes it very easy for someone to be able to make these changes as well. And I think understanding mindset and stuff like that's really cool. And just when we were chatting at the course and all that sort of stuff, just the changes, like you said, that's what I think. That's why I really like this, the constant evolution that's going on within the program itself. So, already today you just said, we're now looking at group exercise, because you understand that people want to work in a group, and people are tied to their, maybe not tied to their jobs, maybe is not the right term, but people have to work, and sometimes they have to work around certain schedules, and that means they have to exercise in the morning. And if their biotype says don't exercise in the morning, it's sort of trying to find that middle ground as best as possible, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's an awesome thing that you guys are trying to evolve and create something that suits everybody as best as possible. And I think that's an important aspect, that you just haven't set and forget. And all right, we've got the program now. See you guys. We're going to sell it. We're going to roll it out. It's just a constant evolution, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's right. And one of the big things that we really, we believe in education for the rest of your life. We'll be doing this for the next 80 years, or however long that we can be tolerated on a camera and in front of people. We run after the 6 weeks. There's free ongoing development for exercise, nutrition, coaching, and then also business stuff as well. So every 2 weeks, we're doing something specific to the fitness and health industry in each of those areas in a personalized manner, talking about cases so that you can actually bring your cases and get them analyzed and assessed by the guys who have done a lot of work in this area. So we're very, very, we just want to be able to make sure that everyone can get this message, that everyone needs something different. And so we've effectively, that's why I've retired out of practice, just so that I can dedicate a lot more time and put into our health professionals who are going to be really changing our landscape for sure.
Awesome. Just on the cases, I just want to bring up one sort of last thing.
Yeah.
What for people to think about. This is when you think about those people who you categorize as hard gainers in a gym, or those people who they say, I just look at food and it makes me put on weight. These are the people that this program is sort of designed for, right? It's those people who, like you said, that one trainer who's been working hard for however many years and how many months and hadn't been seeing many results, and then all of a sudden shifts her program and starts seeing results. And in results aren't, like physical body results aren't everything, right? But you're going to see a lot of mental improvements as well, right? And relationship improvements and just many other improvements that go across not just your physical, your physical being of whatever your measurements are, right?
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. And this is where, probably the best cases, the most fun cases have been people who have come from other health professionals, have been doing something for a year, and by all reports, you would think that they should have lost 30 kilos by the amount of effort and discipline they've had. And then we just get this information and we tweak it, and everything shifts. Like, because when you change your chemistry, which is when you change the food and how your body is absorbing that food and how stress is working in your body as well, everything shifts. When you come out of stress, you can stop caring less about yourself and you can care more about others. You can actually, and then that really improves your tolerance with relationships. It also improves your focus and productivity at work. And then not only that, but the platform actually gives you instruction on how you can make the most of work in that clear space as well, based on your neurochemistry. So, and then what we find is people like yourself who have been chasing health for a long time and feel like they've nutted it out. I've had a number of examples of coaches coming through who have been really dedicated to their health, and they'll squeeze another 5 to 10% out just by getting their timing right and just by understanding a little bit more about the rhythm of their body through the day. And it's those, for the people who are in peak condition, and this is why I love working with athletes as well, the hard people and the athletes, they then see that 5 to 10%, but at that level, that's huge.
Oh, yeah.
So
It probably isn't in 5 to 10% at that elite level. It's probably the 1 to 2%, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So yeah, it's
a lot of percentages going out here.
Yeah, there's lots of 60% of data is made up 100%. So yes, I was the applicability across your whole spread of clients from very diseased right through to very healthy. It's they need to know what's best for them, and you can't guess. It's just there's too many factors for sure.
Easy. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to make sure I get your details, your links, all that sort of stuff for people to get in touch. And then from there, we'll see what we can do, and hopefully we get some people who are interested in this. And yeah, because it is an awesome program. It's something that I've enjoyed being part of, because it's just, like I said, the knowledge and the information has been really mind-blowing. So it's awesome.
Awesome, Trav. Yeah, and for people considering it out there, it will be now or sometime in the future that you're going to have to do something in personalized health. And with the big things that we've got coming, the more you can move away from generic and into more personalization, the sooner you get onto this, the better. And there's nothing else like this platform right now on the planet. So we look forward to more interest and having conversations with you going forward.
All right, guys. That's Dr. Cam McDonald. Thank you very much, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.